Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is what, episode 6, I think, or at 5, I'm not sure anymore. Or
I think 6.
six.
I'm pretty certain it's 6. Yeah.
So welcome back to the episode 6 of the Rumblecast. We missed last week. That's 100% my fault. I was in my last week of finals, and we tried to record it, but we have like a 6-hour difference, so I couldn't find the time. It's my fault, but we're back, and we should have a Rumblecast next week, hopefully, and then we'll keep going afterwards. But yeah, guys, just as always, I'm going to have 3 topics to talk about. And Merry Christmas, by the way. Today's the 25th. Merry Christmas. So we have 3 topics here, and we have 3 topics on Excoundrel's side of the channel. So my topics are, first of all, how to build a deck. So I'm a big deck builder. I like to try some crazy ideas. So I'm going to give you like make you go through my thought process as we're building decks, and I'm very curious as to see if Excoundrel does the same. Yeah, and then we are going to talk about, is the game in a better state? So cool conversation to have. And then finally, we are going to give a little bit of love to our 5 favorite campaign mission or PvE missions in the game. So yeah, a lot to talk about. It's going to be very fun. And what are your topics on your side, X?
So I'm going to be talking about the state of PvP, and don't worry, this is a positive thing this time round. We're going to talk a little bit about the fun bugs that happened over the course of the build up to Christmas. It was an interesting week for sure, if you've been following Rumble. And then the sort of the season 2 remainder, like what have we got to expect coming in season 2? Are things going to shift a huge amount? You know, we'll have a little chat about that towards the end. So yeah, got lots of kind of fun stuff to talk about this week. And
Yep.
I will probably be the blame for maybe an episode being delayed or coming out. I'm going to South Africa next week after Christmas, Boxing Day. So 26th of December, I'm going to South Africa, and I'm going all the way until the 5th of January. So I will be a little bit quiet on my channel. We're going to try and record 2 episodes so we have enough. But if there's any delay, it's my fault, not Big's.
Okay, well, yeah, we'll try to, if we record another one, I'll cut this part off so you guys will know. But yeah, guys, the first topic we have here is on how to build a deck. So I'm pretty much talking about PvP, but I mean, it can apply to PvE. Yeah, so I did this intro where I mentioned that I'm a big deck builder. I love to build decks. I love to build crazy decks. I like to sometimes step out of the current meta, with like right now being like a spell cycle list, right? So yeah, I like to step out of the meta and actually find something that can counter the meta and some good lists. I think this is where the game is at its best, when we are creating new decks with new archetypes, stuff like that. That's when I think the game is the most fun. So yeah, just I guess before I jump into it, I'm just wondering, what are your decks that you're playing right now in PvP? And which one are the most funs?
I'm just still recovering.
Yeah, Excoundrel and I both got COVID, by the way, at the same time.
We somehow got COVID at the same time. I am unfortunately an absolutely obnoxious meta slave right now, so I'm really trying to climb. So I'm now at 13.5k, so I'm really going for it at the moment. I'm trying to get as high as I can
13.5
in PvP. Yeah, I've been grinding this week in PvP. So I play Baron, Maev, and Jaina at the moment, which are basically the three most meta decks in the game right now. But I was just testing out this really interesting Sylvanas deck that's been people have been testing out a little bit, and it's like a defensive Sylvanas deck. I'm still not playing it 100% correctly, but it's supposed to counter like some of the high-end meta kind of chip damage builds. Like a lot of the meta right now is kind of like chipping damage on the base with blizzards, or chipping damage on the base with executes, etc. So this one runs the Frostwolf Shaman with the healing totem, the one that heals the base. And then the rest of the deck is basically like pure defense. It's Arclight Battery's special of the Harvest Golem with the stun. It's Blizzard. It's Sylvanas because she controls the bridge area outside the base really well. It's just Quillbore and Safe Pilot, of course, and then also Griffin Rider. So it's just all very defensive. And the entire point of the deck is just to kind of prevent any major damage on your base, heal up any chip damage, and then try and use Blizzard to get some like value trades on their base if you can. It's an interesting deck. I'm not sure how good it will be at the high levels, mostly because there are 2 units that are completely out of slot. So you have to run Griffin and Safe Pilot out of slot, or you have to run basically something out of slot, essentially. You're not running any undead minis at all. So it's interesting that once I get past 3k with it, because I'm currently like 2.6k with Sylvanas. Once you get past 3k with it, you're probably going to get battered by people who have actually got good levels. But it's an interesting deck, and it's something that new that I was playing. I was obviously playing that really dumb Chalga deck as well, the one where you just cheat death. You cheat death.
I tried it. Didn't work as well for me. But
people have started to counter it a little bit now. Like Blizzard is like the biggest counter to
Polymorph
that.
as well is pretty good.
Yeah, Polymorph's less common for me. I don't seem to run into that many people playing Polymorph, which actually leads me to a funny comment, and you'll probably resonate with this, right? I was showing this the Fieldsy, it's not Tic Tac, the Fieldsy combo, where you play the execute with the skeleton party, right? And a guy commented on my YouTube channel, with the bloodlusted skeletons, right? The guy commented on my YouTube channel and he said, yeah, this is not good because Polymorph wrecks this. I'm like, dude, if we want to go down that route, anything can, there's things that can be countered by everything in the game. That's the point of the game, right? So you base, if you're playing a Drakasaf deck and they're running Polymorph, you just hold your hands up and say, cool, I'm not winning this game, right? If someone polymorphs your skeleton combo under the tower, you're probably just going to hold your hands up and say, that ain't working this game, I'm going to try something else. And it doesn't even mean that the game's over, by the way. If you don't take the side tower, you can then just start executing the base. If you know that you're not going to take the side tower, all you do then is just turn to execute the base and then just start going execute cycle on the base. So it's not like you lose the game if you can't pull off that combo. But yeah, it's just a side tangent on YouTube comments about countering that sometimes I'm like, dude, anything can counter anything in this game. That's kind of how the game works.
Well, I guess that's perfect for, a segue as the first thing I wanted to touch with how to build a deck. That's what I like to go for when I build a deck. The first thing I'm thinking of is what is played or what is obnoxious, right? And then how can I counter it, right? And you gave a perfect example here of Polymorph countering something, right? But that's kind of like the whole mindset I go through when I'm trying to build a PvP deck. There's multiple ways of doing it, but definitely one of the ways of doing it is looking at what is really strong and seeing different tools, looking at different tools in the game. So Polymorph on that combo is a good example. And you mentioned earlier another great example of right now everyone's playing the spell cycle list, right? Or guys, today's the 25th, so we now have the rocket towers. So the meta might be different. This is recorded.
We're recording this on the 23rd, so the towers haven't changed yet. It might be different, right?
But let's use the example of pre rocket towers where everyone's playing spell cycle lists. So I would look at that, and the example you gave of the Frostful Shaman that actually heals a little bit your tower. That's pretty good. So that's like kind of the way I like to break down my decks when I create some. So I would go through what is a problem and how can I answer it, right? I think
let's build a deck together right now.
Sure.
Let's just go for it. Let's build a deck together right now, and we can talk through what we're doing as we build a deck, right?
Well, okay, and that's perfect actually, because we have now the rocket towers, okay?
Yes.
And I haven't gone through a build or a deck build or a deck theory crafting yet, and the towers are arriving tonight, so we could try build a list together now. But considering the rocket towers.
Right. There are two leaders that I think are going to become a lot better on the rocket towers that weren't so good on.
And we're doing this live, guys. Live right now.
So I think there are two leaders. There was Hogger and Tyrion that are going to become significantly better now compared to the Dragon Tower meta, I think. I wouldn't build Hogger because I think the Hogger deck's going to go basically this. It will just be standard Hogger deck ultimately. I think what you'll see with Hogger is just going to be normal Hogger deck, probably with Dark Iron Miner. So I think Hogger, but I think Tyrion is actually going to become very good in this next meta. Because I think Tyrion is no longer going to get absolutely battered, and his AoE healing is going to be really powerful versus rockets. So I think Tyrion could be really interesting to build a deck for. Now, whether
there's another one, which I want to test because Sneed, right? Because every single siege meanie, I don't know if siege is going to be great, but he's definitely going to get at least one tier higher in my opinion, because
he's the most garbage you could possibly get out of all the leaders right now, so he can't go any lower.
Yeah, that's true, but that's because of the Dragon Towers, right? Because every single siege meanie gets destroyed by the Dragon Towers, but now Warsong Raider won't get destroyed as much, the Earth Elemental won't get destroyed as much. What else? What are the other siege meanies? We have Molten Giant. No, Gargoyle, for example. It is,
Gargoyle will be better, even though
Yeah.
it is elemental damage on the towers. So
but it's still like because of the fact that it's not damage from like right now the dragon or yesterday or Friday, right? Or Saturday. Anyway, I'm trying to like do like if we were the 25th today. What I'm saying, the dragon towers do more damage at the initial impact, right? And rocket towers don't, so the gargoyle will still be very good in that situation, right? So anyway, we have Sneed. We could go for Sneed. We could go for something else. I just wanted to mention Sneed.
No, I think Sneed's an interesting one. I think like this is a challenge in terms of building a deck for Sneed because Sneed ultimately isn't that strong in the current meta. I would be almost if you have. I mean, this is the funny thing. Even though Lead with Greed is obviously Sneed traditionally been Sneed's best talent, I would almost say that the mining talent is the one that I would go for on this map.
Yep.
Because if you can just walk Sneed up, he's much tankier than a Kobold. If you can just walk him up to that mine in the middle, like he's going to have easy mining potential. And I don't think you're going to get much value out of Lead with Greed because we're still going to have the fortification bonus on the towers. So I don't think we're going to get much value out of Lead with Greed. And I think the nerf to land grab is also going to be almost unproccable for the most part because there's no meeting stones and it's still fortifications.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to run with the mining talent on Sneed this time round, right?
Yep. So perfect. Let's go for Sneed. And guys, so this actually was the second point I wanted to talk about. You could build a deck with how to counter meta, but you can also build a deck because right now we have no idea of what the meta will be with the rocket towers. So when you don't know, you could just go with some thoughts of like what is getting better, for example, with the balance change or right now the rocket towers, and then see what could get better and try these deck out. So that's kind of what we're doing here. But let's get back into it. We have Sneed our leader. What I do, guys, once we decide like what leader we want to go for is normally how I do this. But then I go for the 3 slots that I have to fill first.
Yeah.
Is that the way you're doing it as well?
Generally, yes. I mean, obviously, we can play a bit of off slot if we need to. Like, for instance, Dark Iron Miner. If I want to slot that into my deck, I might just put it off slot because it doesn't matter massively about the levels in Dark Iron Miner.
That's true.
But I agree. That's kind of like the way I would go for it. And I quite like the idea. You've already got one in there that I quite like. I think like Frostwolf Rider or the
Warsong Raider.
Warsong Raider. That could be an interesting one, especially if you've got the siege talent. That could be an interesting one.
Yep. You know what? Let's do this now. So we'll take the Warsong Raider and we'll play Raising Focus. So he becomes she becomes a siege meanie. And yeah, I guess the sappers are going to be a little bit better. I don't think we need. By the way, you touched about the Dark Iron Miner. I don't think we need the Dark Iron Miner. No. Because we do have Sneed with the miner trait, and plus we already have our miner, so I think it's overkill for sure.
I agree. Yeah.
And then we need another horde mini or spell.
Yeah, I mean we could move. So we could move our Frostwolf Rider over to the siege slot because she's now a siege mini, and then we could put in Frostwolf Shaman maybe like to give like a kind of become like either a super tanky Frostwolf Rider. The only problem that I have with that is we're becoming quite expensive at that point.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, the rocket towers do elemental damage, so the armor, I don't know about the Frostwolf. I think actually I wanted to, like, we're better off. We could play the Earth Elemental in this siege slot. Is that?
Yeah, I just don't like Earth Elemental in PvP. That's the only problem is that it's only there to do damage to towers, and you can't place it like behind the enemy base.
Yeah, but perhaps it draws aggro from both towers. If you, I don't know, the rocket towers have extra range, right? We'll have to test that.
Yeah, there could be some play there. I feel like we kind of need safe pilot, right? Like that's just one of the things that's annoying that we kind of need it most of the time. Mm-hmm. What I always like to think when I'm building a deck, like what's our win condition, right? So every deck's got like some kind of win condition. I guess something else that I think could be put in instead of chain lightning would actually be execute. So
Yeah.
if you were to run Raising Focus with the Bloodthirst, if you end up having the Bloodthirst talent, I know you've only got one talent on Execute, but let's say you've got the Bloodthirst talent.
I got the worst one.
Actually, to be honest with you, even Killing Spree on this one's not bad, right? Because you have a lot of Horde minis you're going to run. But like, let's say you've got
Bloodthirsty could be good.
Bloodthirst, and you
actually,
run.
I think Overpower is better. Like knocking back, protecting the.
I really like Overpower, but not many people agree with me. I think though, if we're thinking about killing towers, like the Bloodthirst one with the Raising Focus Frostwolf Raider is actually really good. Like if you run the Frostwolf Raider at the tower, you Bloodthirst it, then you execute the tower. That might be like a single push tower kill, right? That might actually just kill a tower in one push.
Yeah, like the side towers for sure. Yeah, actually, that's pretty good. Yeah, I like it. Okay. Right now, I think so. We have our Sneed, our Warsong Raider, we have our Execute, and by the way, you'll have to try it as well, right? We'll both.
Yes, I will. I will actually try this. I will actually try this. I kind of want to get rid of it. I know you don't. I know you want to keep it, but I kind of want to get.
We can remove it. I'm fine with it. The Earth Elemental, right? You're talking about.
Yeah, I'm just thinking because if we remove the Earth Elemental, and then we put the big bad voodoo headhunter troll up in the horde slot above, then we have a slot that we can kind of move to either be, in my eyes, it's either going to be Quillbore or Griffin Rider, because if I was going to remove something, I'd actually remove the well pegs because I don't actually know if we necessarily need them.
We can remove them. In my mind, I was like, we're starting from scratch. It's just you can't really remove.
No.
Without replacing. So you're saying, so well
Quillbore
pegs,
over well pegs, yeah. Okay. Out of those three, like out of the safe pilot, well pegs, Quillbore, I generally think like the Quillbore safe pilot combo is a little bit just more all round usable.
Yeah.
Well pegs are like they've got specific uses, and because we have Darkspear Troll in the deck, it's not like we're going to get caught off guard by a huge amount of flying stuff. So that just kind of leaves the last slot for me, right?
Yep. The thing is, like, Blizzard would be very good, but like we already have quite an expensive deck, and I think we kind of want to cycle the Warsong Raider combo. So I would go for something cheap on the last slot. What do you think?
Yeah, so I would honestly, like, I'm a cop out. I'd put Griffin Rider.
That's fair.
I'd put Griffin Rider in a lot of decks.
I would put Chain Lightning as well. Could be good.
Yeah, Chain Lightning could be good as well. Like, that's anti-whelp. So, like, if you do have whelps, you're going up against whelps, at least you've got the Chain Lightning for them.
Yeah, but whelps, the Warsong Raider will ignore the whelps.
The Warsong Raider will ignore the whelps, so that is a positive. But obviously, whelps are a big deal for Sneed, for instance. Like, whelps will absolutely destroy Sneed. So you'd need to, like, back Sneed up with a safe pilot straight away, or you'd need to use the Chain Lightning. So, yeah, I guess for me, or you could back him up with a Griffin Rider, right? So it could be Chain Lightning or it could be Griffin Rider. I would opt to Griffin Rider because it's a bit more adaptable, but I can see that Chain Lightning would also be really good, right?
Well, aren't the Griffin Rider going to suck now because of the new towers?
Yeah, but I don't really use Griffin Riders for towers.
Really?
Like, the Griffin Riders are much more for, like, general map control for me. Like, they're a great defensive unit.
Yeah, but I think like a big thing of why Griffin Rider was so good was because Dragon Tower with the extra range made almost no damage, right? Like they had to address it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the only thing is it's just they're so useful on this particular level as well, because if you place a Griffin Rider on the left of your side tower, it can hit the central platform a lot of the time. I know Darkspear Troll can do that as well, so it's sort of like we already have a unit in there that can do that, but I would keep that slot flexible, right? That would be my flexible slot. I would move things in and out of that slot just depending on like how the testing goes.
Also, do is Chain Lightning replaces the Darkspear Troll, and then we have, the Griffin Rider to take that last slot instead of Darkspear Troll. So like we still have some air counters with Griffin Rider and and Safe Pilot and Execute and Chain Lightning, which all can hit air. And
it brings the cost of the deck down.
Yeah.
So that's also good.
And we could cycle Warsong Raider. Like if we want to, we can Warsong into Execute, into like Griffin Rider, Quillbore, Chain Lightning, and start over again. Which is a pretty good cycle, right?
Yeah, I like it. So win condition of the deck is like Sneed, mines, so that's sort of a way to get gold. You've got the Warsong Raider Execute on the tower, and then it's just eventually just like defense, chip damage. We can cycle Execute eventually, right? So
Yep.
we can chip with Execute to cycle.
Yep. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like this deck. I think it's cool. I think it's really cool.
And I like the fact that like you don't have too much on the board at all time, because you just have like your Warsong Raider that you're trying to cover. And then if you really can't win, you still have like a execute cycle possibility, right? So that's a secondary win condition. And then you have a lot of defense with Griffin Rider, Safe Pilot, Quillboy, right? And if you really need to, you can, like for a Death Ball, let's say, which would be like the hardest push ever, you could still execute Safe Pilot, Chain Lightning, which would deal a shit ton of damage. I think.
Yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
I actually, if I get Death Balls like Tyrion Death Balls or Dracosath Death Balls, if I just wait for them to get to my tower, I execute them near the tower. I just execute them near the tower, and then they end up dying most of the time. Like Dracosath and Death Balls are hard countered by shit like Execute. So like we know we have an answer if we need it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. I think it's cool. I think it's a really cool deck. I'm definitely going to try it. Sneed is my lowest rated leader, so there's absolutely nothing that I can lose for trying this deck. So I will give it a go.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I guess we could do like a little recap of how we built this deck. So 2 options, I guess, to build it, unless you're seeing other options. But the way I'm doing when I'm building a deck is look at the meta. If I find the meta oppressing and I want to go out of the meta, we'll look at what's strong, what could counter it. Look at all the different tools that are in the game that are underplayed. And then I try to look at some possibilities there. I think this requires a little bit more testing. A lot of times you're going to try stuff and you're going to figure out why it wasn't played. But nonetheless, that's good because you're getting some better insight into the game. That, or the second option is like what we did just now, where we just create a deck from scratch without, or I guess we identified the changes with the new map, with the new whatever, and then we got some ideas, and then we started to just build upon those ideas with looking for different, I guess, win conditions, look for different spells, look at all the different possibilities in the game as well. Yeah, did I summarize it pretty well on our thought process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like, as you mentioned, the most common way of deck building is you take a deck that already exists and you make a couple of changes that you think are going to significantly impact the meta. That is what people do in Hearthstone, right? Yeah. In Hearthstone, maybe even, I don't know about Snap, I wasn't never a Snap player, but people take a deck that has a core base and then they change some cards here and there to see if they can add like a slight counter to things that are happening in the meta. Whereas what we've just done, we've identified a leader that is terrible right now, but we think could get value on the next map. And we've brought in some minis that we think could be good based theoretically on what we can see. We know that Warsong Raider is quick, so it's going to outpace at least the initial rockets from the rocket tower. It won't get hit by the first few rockets from the rocket tower because it's a fast unit. And then we know that we can execute those high HP towers. Execute still has the most value in sieging towers right now because of the high HP. Then we've put in a blend of the good meta minis right now. Now things might change clearly in terms of these meta minis, but I think Quillboy will still remain good because it's elemental damage towers and it's much lower damage than Dragon Towers. So Quillboy is going to be like the ultimate tank. It's going to be even better than it was in my opinion.
Going to be crazy.
Yeah.
So I guess, all of the swarm minis are just going to be worse, basically, right? And the range minis as well, right?
Minis that were able to traditionally outrange those towers in the Dragon Towers will now be worse because they won't be able to outrange, basically.
Yeah. So basically, everything that's like you want to have as few amount of minis on the board, basically, in lists. I think that's one of the biggest change. And I'm not sure about the Dragon Tower, but it might hit the middle if something's close enough. I really don't know.
I'd have to see that because they do have a very long range, those rocket towers. Because that'll be interesting if you play a Dark Iron Miner and the rocket tower can hit the Dark Iron Miner while it's mining. That will suddenly make Dark Iron Miner actually worse because you can't play it at the start of the game because it's useless. You will just lose your Dark Iron Miner. So that'll be interesting to see.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess, guys, that's a good overview of how we are building a deck, and we will make sure to tell you guys if the deck performed. And I guess we'll jump to our next topic. We're already almost half an hour in, and this is a good topic that I think it's a positive, but it's is the game in a better state? So we've made quite a few videos talking about the state of Rumble, its PvP, PvE, and all of that. But I think, and I'm curious to hear your thought about it, but I think the game is in a better state. I think we still have a lot of stuff that we want, right, and would like to have them quicker. But I think we are in a better state. I think the community stabilized. Yeah, we have something to talk about on your side of the channel. I'm talking about the bugs, but other than that, the bugs that occurred, I think the game is in a pretty good state now. We're a much better state. If it started at a 5, let's say it's like at a 6.5, I would say, or 7. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think we're getting there. I think like there's definitely been a lot of positive changes to the game. When we get onto PvP, I'll talk a little bit about PvP, but specifically, I just think that there's been some life from Blizzard in terms of making proactive changes. Patch 3.0 was really good.
That was a good patch.
Loading times are smooth.
Like it was that, small though, but it was the changes were good.
Yeah, there was a lot of back-end changes, right? I mean, I think a lot of people have noticed how quick the loading times are now, which is one of the biggest gripes from loads of players, that they were stuck in loading screens for the majority of the game. So loading screens are so much quicker. Even just the text looks a bit more premium on the loading screens, etc. There's just small things that just feel a little nicer now.
Or like the levels here, I think if you click on you can see the levels now.
Yeah, there's just a lot of, I mean, there's still a load of quality of life features, but we've done those to death, and I really don't want to keep doing those to death. I'd love to have like deck slots. I would love to have more stuff to do on a daily basis, but I've said that so many times in these podcasts that I don't really want to keep going on like a broken record. The game feels better. It's not close to perfect. It still needs a lot of work. But if it launched at a 5, like you said, we're somewhere at like 6.57, and that's a good direction to go. Like that's where I want Blizzard to keep going. I don't want them to give up. I want them to keep going and pushing the game in that direction.
Yeah, no, it's just, I think it's just slow. But like, let's say if we take the changes that are happening, if they were like just everything twice as fast, if we like took all the change and shoved them like in, let's say, the first month and a half, we would have been like extremely happy about all the changes. It's just a question of speed, I feel like. But still, it's better. Like, there's some games that are going to do some bad changes, and they have yet to do like a single, I guess, bad choice. I guess the Arclight mission was changed. Some people don't like the new Arclight system with like, but I think I don't really care, honestly. That's my take on it.
It doesn't bother me personally. One thing that I will say is that I've talked to a couple of people, and especially people that have worked in game dev but don't work for Blizzard, and they've said they're a little worried about the Arclight changes because they feel like it's artificially trying to manipulate login times. So they're trying to say that it's an artificial change trying to manipulate people to log in more frequently. By the way, I'm just going to let you know, your tree lights are going crazy behind you right now.
I think it's like a visual bug from the camera.
Oh, is it a visual bug from the camera? Because they were just going up. They were absolutely popping off.
Unless, like, when I'm turning around, like, the timing of the lights.
It's actually crazy. When you turn around, they stop.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's got to be a visual bug. Okay, this is blowing my brain right now. Now they're off. Now.
Yeah, I can see.
It's a visual bug. It's a visual bug.
Should I turn it off?
I would turn them off just because I think it was maybe a little distraction. I'll wait. We'll wait for you. Don't worry, Big.
I'll be right back. All right, we are back. So for people who aren't really looking at the video, apparently my lights on my Christmas tree were freaking out.
They were freaking out, dude. They were going crazy.
All right, I hope it wasn't off. I hope it wasn't too distracting for the first 30 minutes. But where were we?
We were talking about so basically a couple of my game dev friends have said that, like, it's this change feels like it's like artificially like artificially manipulating login times. So someone's like, that to me feels like Blizzard are worried about people not logging in as frequently as they'd like them to. So they're essentially trying to get people to log in more frequently. That might not be the case.
Yeah, the way I agree, but I don't know why this is such an issue. Like, I don't think that means the game is in a bad state. I don't, or like there's not enough player. I think it's just like it felt weird, right? Because like you just played and then you did everything, and then like the next day you didn't really have something to look forward to. I don't think it's like necessarily to be manipulative. I think it's just it makes more sense, and I think that's.
I don't disagree with the change. You know, ultimately, I think like for a lot of people, especially those who are at PvE barriers, for instance, all they're going to do is log in and try and do their dailies and log out. Adding arc light surges just throughout the week means that at least they have something more to do if they're logging on periodically throughout the week.
Yeah.
Like my free to play account, I don't log in that much to anymore because I just can't be asked to like maintain 2 accounts. But like I'd say as a free to play player, just having something extra, as well as like the mental thing of having something else to do towards your dailies. Because one of the worst things in the world is logging on and all you have to do towards your dailies is quests, and quests are mind numbing. So like having something else to do that contributes towards your dailies that is not quests is something that's quite nice to have on a periodic basis throughout the week. So I get it.
You kind of feel like you're progressing through 2 things instead of 1 every day, which is cool, I think.
Yeah. But I think there was some people that are kind of worried about it, especially from a game dev perspective. They're like, if they're already trying to artificially manipulate login behavior, is that a bad thing for the game? Which, you know, I don't know enough about game dev to tell you whether yes or no. But I think there were also behavioral upsides to having Arclight more spread out throughout the week.
Yeah, but I think it's like, it's because if they were like, let's say, increasing the reward you get in your daily shop, right? Then you would. Like people wouldn't argue the same argument, right? Because they would be like, oh, they're giving us stuff to log in, to artificially log in more. But then like, because it's just a change which is not necessarily beneficial, but it's not necessarily negative. Now it's an issue. It's to bring people to log in every day. I don't know if you get what I'm talking about. Like,
yeah, no. I think like ultimately they haven't given us any extra incentive to log in. Like they just made it so you want to log in more frequently, which like,
yeah.
It's neither here nor there, right?
Yeah, but if they if they added, let's say, an extra surge, let's say, right? So we would get a little bit more goal. Everyone would be praising it, right? And it would not be saying, "Oh, it's because
they're trying to get us to log in more." Yeah.
You see, so
I get it. I mean, either way,
I don't care. Honestly, that's my take.
Yeah. Either way, don't really care.
I guess the only thing that bothers me a little bit is for videos, it's just you have to be a little bit more strict with your logistics and timing, because like if you want to do something with Arclight, you can just do it like in a certain period of time. But like that's just a problem as a content creator. But I don't think like they should make a change because it affects us a little bit, right?
Like ultimately the way I always assess a game's health is like looking at my YouTube view metrics. Like I'm just like, what are my YouTube views looking like right now? They're about the same that they have been for like 3 weeks. So like nothing has massively changed in terms of my YouTube viewership over the last 2 weeks or so. And that to me says that we've got a base of players.
And we have I like this community. I think people are like very active. People are very like everyone's super cool.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And what I would say is like, one of the things that motivates a lot of content creators, not necessarily you, as I know you're not motivated the same way, but like for me, one of the things that keeps me going and creating content daily is like, can I make like a little bit of pocket money from this on a month-to-month basis? Like, is that that keeps me going basically on YouTube? And I was still making decent-ish money, like about half as much as I was on global launch, which is perfectly reasonable. Keeps me going on a monthly basis. It will keep me motivated to keep creating content. And you know, that's perfectly fine with me. You know, so I think it's in a good spot, and I wouldn't be too worried about the game right now. It hasn't blown up clearly. It clearly has not blown up like something like, you know, Clash Royale levels of blow up. But it was never going to. It's a Blizzard game in an IP of Blizzard fans who primarily like PC gaming, who see Blizzard's mobile games as complete pay-to-win garbage. So you're always going to have a bit of an uphill battle with the type of game that we're in and the sort of the area that we're operating in. But it's formed a really core, awesome audience.
Yeah.
You know, a really core, awesome community, and that
For
will
me,
then
that's
get built
for
on.
me, that's what motivates me. It's like a cool, and we have both, I guess. But like,
Exactly.
for me, it's not necessarily the number, but it's like I love the fact that everyone's so chill. It's like no one's toxic, and everyone's super active as well, and everyone loved the Warcraft RP.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think like I enjoy how grown up the community is, which is really interesting because a lot of the games I come from have not had older audience base, but there are so many people in Rumble that are from an older demographic, which is super nice for me because I'm a dad. You know, I'm a bit older, and it's just nice to have people that are kind of like me playing the game, which is just really nice. So yeah, I'm still really positive about the game, really positive about how it's going, and I think raids will only make it better. And look, come back and have this discussion together in a year and see where the game has got in a year's space, you know.
But that's what I was gonna say. It's like you talked about like the game didn't blow up, and like it's not a game that's supposed to blow up per se, but like with raids and PvP revamps, and like we have a solid core community, like there is some stuff, and I'm thinking of, I said PvP revamp, but I don't think that's a great example. I think raids and a PC client. Those are the two possibilities that could like bring back bring a big surge of player. I think, and I really do think that if they do a PC version, like widescreen, okay, same game but widescreen, looks good. Marvel Snap did that. That's why I'm giving you this example. But this would be crazy because the game would just be on the Battle.net client. And do you know how much players are on the Battle.net client like every day? And you like imagine someone plays World of Warcraft and then logs off and just want to try something. The game's free. It's right there. They click download. Very easy to download. It just looks beautiful. It just looks polished, simple, just easy to come in. Like we could get so much players instantly from that PC launch, I think. So, I mean, they didn't mention they were going to do PC, but my point is, if they ever decide to do so, it's I think they could get like a second launch.
Agreed. I think like a lot of games have done that. Like obviously Diablo Immortal got a bit of second wind when it made that PC client launch as well. And I think the game already works so well on emulator. It'd be so easy to translate that into a PC. Like, look, I'm not a game dev.
Yeah,
so
but
I'm
I
not
think
gonna
they
say it
need
would
to
be-
do like a widescreen beautiful UI, which is different. You know?
Yeah. Sure.
Take the
I
time
get
to
that.
do it and just do it like that.
Yeah,
Right? Don't
100%.
port. Don't just port the game. Like do a cool widescreen UI, and then I think the reward would be insane.
Yeah, I agree. I think there could be something really cool they could do with it. So, but look, overall, I think the game is better. It's going to continue to get better. The worst thing that Blizzard could do would be to take their foot off the gas or abandon it. Like, I think the game must be making a decent amount of money because they still have the content creator program going. Like with like I said with EA, when CNC Rivals didn't perform in the first 2 weeks, they canned the whole thing. So like Blizzard is still going with it, and they must be making money from it. So I'm hoping they'll continue, and I'm hoping they'll keep putting the resources into it. That'll be really nice.
Yep. All right. Well, I guess we'll jump to our last topic, which is a little bit more lighthearted. Once again, I love doing that. We are going to talk about our top 5 favorite PvE missions. So I made you pick 5, and I have my 5 ready as well. There's great missions in Warcraft Rumble. And you're gonna have to help me tell me which in which region that is, because I don't remember them all by heart. But anyway, I have some my top 5 here. Should I start with my number 5 and then you go, or should we both?
Yeah. Just feel free because I'm you go first.
But I'll start with my number 5 then, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to preface this, guys, by saying that I love missions that break the rules and that are very different. So you're going to see a lot of them in my list that are very unique. Some of them, it's like when they do a unique mission, it's like a hit or miss, right? So either it's going to be horrible or it's going to be awesome. And my number 5 is, let me find it. My number 5 is... I can't find it. But it's King Mukla. I love the King Mukla mission. I thought it was a
That's in that's on the right-hand side, right at the bottom. I can't remember the name of it. Next one. There you go. In Stranglethorn Vale.
There it is.
Yeah, in Stranglethorn.
I love the King Mukla mission. It's like a football field or something, right? It looks like a football field.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's a crazy mission. It's just so much fun. It's very unique. There's banana peels that are left on the map where your minis gain extra level. Yeah, I just love this mission a lot. Is it one of your favorites?
I like it, but not my favorite. You'll see a very common theme with mine. This follows a similar kind of theme. But yeah, not one of my favorites. It's definitely a cool design. I like the idea of it, but definitely not one of my favorites. But I get where you're coming from with it.
So what's your number 5 then?
My number 5 is the Reek.
Oh,
so the Reek is over he's in Hinterlands. So he's next one across. Down. Nope. Below this one. There you go. Yeah. So the Reek. The reason I like the Reek is because it's got a very unique boss mechanic. It consumes your minis to take damage to the HP. So it has a different way of playing the game. And what you're going to notice with my top 5 is that I've chosen 5 that have generally changed the mechanics of actually playing the game, rather than just being like, I spawn 3 big minions and you've got to deal with them, or my mechanic is that I spawn 3 huntresses on you. Like there's the Reek is you've got to play the game a little differently, right? So it forces you to be a little bit more sort of thoughtful about how you actually approach it. So that's my number 5, just because it just changes the way that the game is played, which is what I like about the PvE missions.
Well, funny enough, that would be probably my most hated, but I love the try. I love the idea of just changing the rules like you just mentioned. But for me, I mean, because what I hate about this mission is like sometimes I do a quest and I end up on this mission and I just try to speed run it, but you can't because the Reek just has so much HP and it's so long. And also when I did the heroics, it was super hard for some reason at that point. For me, it was a wall. I don't know. I have some bad vibe with this exact mission, but I still like the idea or like the fact that they try to do something very different. I would definitely keep it in the game. I think it's great for the game. I just hate it it's a personal issue.
Yeah. You're gonna hate my number 4 even more, and everybody watching is gonna hate my number 4 even more. So.
Is it Son of Arugel? It better not be.
No, it's not, because that's not interesting. That's just well, it is kind of interesting. I like that they changed from night to day. It's like the only night-day mechanic that we've got in the game, but it's not that interesting. He just cheats. He just cheats out a load of gold. That's the problem with Son of Arugel. It cheats out an unbelievable amount of gold.
Yeah.
But hey, look, you go number 4, and then we'll do my number 4.
My number 4, I guess, is my only one that's not unique. Per se, but it's actually Gromash. So Gromash is a simple mission, but I remember I just have some fond memory of that Gromash mission. I think it was at a point. It's one of the harder mission in the game when you start the game, and you have to understand what Bloodlust do, and there's 4 lanes. I just think the overall theme of this mission was very, very fun. With the 2 Warsong Raider that charges you at the start of the game with rage. I think it was awesome. And then plus the whole aesthetic of this mission is just insane with the barracks here and the towers. The map just looks beautiful. I love it.
It's cool. It's a sort of a cross aesthetic. It's definitely quite nice. Again, not something that I'd have put in my top 5, but I get why you have. But again, because this is not really changing the way the game is played for me, it's why it's not kind of hitting my top 5.
Yeah. Well, so my other ones are more crazy, but this one, I guess, it's just an example of, because not all missions can be crazy, right? We have to get some more traditional ones.
Agreed.
And in those traditional ones, I think that one was just one with a great design, in my opinion.
Are you ready for my number 4? It's gonna
go ahead.
Tee off a load of people. It's Devil Saw Queen.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. Yeah. I love Devil. It's on Ungoro, so it's over on the other side. But I love Devil Saw Queen. Lunar Claw is one of my least favorite missions of all time, just so you know. But Devil Sword Queen over on the left hand side. Go left, go left.
Yes. I
Go
thought
left, and then go down.
here.
There.
Yes, there it is.
Yes. So, why do I like Devil Sword Queen? Again, it's just a very unique boss fight. It's like there's nothing else in the game like this. It's hard, it's frustrating, it's an annoying boss fight to do, but there's just nothing else in the game like it. One of the things that I like about the sort of the very, in my eyes, high-end Warcraft Rumble boss is that they force you to kind of make deck choices that are very different. And that's what I quite like about Devil Sword Queen. Like, you need to include something that's going to outrange her, otherwise you ain't beating the level. So when I first did Devil Sword Queen in my free-to-play account, I did it with like relentlessly using meat wagons before I realized that Darkspear Troll outranges her, Batrider outranges her. There's loads of things that outrange her, but yeah, it kind of like forces you to sort of
and
build
plus,
something unique, right?
Plus, there's like that epic moment the first time you do the mission. Everyone had a crazy reaction when your whole push got destroyed by the Devil Sword Queen the first time she actually jumps out. It's so it's definitely like that's a very cool moment in those missions. It's like
she's just frustrating because because she spawns a load of raptors and it's very difficult to deal with. So I get it from that perspective. It is frustrating, but cool boss fight. I like it. Very cool boss fight.
Yeah. And also, like, I love those bosses that are just huge in size. For example, like Onyxia. If you try to fight Onyxia, well, she's huge. Like, physically takes like a fifth of the map herself, right? And I love that from the Devil Sword Queen as well. Just like a huge boss. It's so satisfying when you actually defeat her. All right.
And agreed. Yeah, it's like one of those walls that once you get past, you're like, yes.
That's true. All right, guys. So my number 3 favorite mission, and guys, feel free to tell us down below. By the way, what are your top 5 favorite missions? But also on the last topics we talked about, do you guys feel like the game is in a better state? And then, how do you guys build decks? Or do you guys build decks with some other techniques? So make sure to tell us. All right, my number 3 mission is actually. Let me see if I thought it was. Don't we have like a Blackrock location? I guess.
You do. It's over on the right hand side, all the way over to the right.
Yes, here.
And it's the molten down a bit.
Yes, this is where I collect.
There you go.
That's what I did. My favorite mission my third favorite mission is Emperor Thaurissan. Okay, so this is a mission that is crazy. Where fire element, if you play Baron, you just feed those fire elementals everywhere. So once again, like you just mentioned, it's a type of mission where you have to do some choices, switch off some minis, and I think that was very much the case for Emperor Thaurissan. And I love, once again, the overall theme. But what I like the most is every time I do this mission, I know what the next Blackrock leader will look like. And every time I see it, I just love the design. I don't know, it's very cool for me. I love also the just the aesthetic of like the different tiles and the low ground, the high ground. I think it just looks beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's a really well designed map. And again, like, cool mechanic.
It has everything.
It is cool in that sense, agreed. I think I would like it more if I weren't able to cheese it with harpies every single time that I do it. But I think like it's definitely got that cool mechanic in it. You know, it is an interesting fight. Again, not in my top 5, and it's very interesting that we have quite different top 5s. I'm liking that. It's a bit more of a kind of a difference in terms of what we like. But I do think the fight's cool. Yeah, I do think the fight's cool.
There's so many good missions, so many good levels in this game. It's crazy. They nailed the PvE.
So I'll do my third.
Yep.
I don't have to spend too long on this one, just because I know that we're rattling on. But
Let's
we can.
go.
It's Nishala the Sandweaver, which is in the same as Cairn Bloodloof in Thousand Needles. So that's bottom right of the left island. There you go. So she's the Mirage one, and I just like it. I just like it because it's quite fun to play, to just like have double minis that you play every single time. B, whenever I get her on Arclight Surge and I play Old Murkai, it's absolutely hilarious. I just love playing Old Murkai on this level in an Arclight Surge, where I just like have like about 1,000 minis just storming the boss. There's nothing more satisfying than that. And I think like overall the level is a bit tank and spank. You know, it's a bit sort of like I play my minis, I hit the boss, but the Mirage mechanic just makes it so much fun to play, and that's why I quite like this
I
level.
love playing safe pilot too, because like you
Yes,
get double
yeah,
safe
yeah.
pilot with the double actual pilots afterwards with the double stealth if you have the double cloaking device. So like you can do the half of the boss's health with just like a single safe pilot. Yeah, very fun mission. All right, I guess yes, I'll jump quickly to the next one. My next one is once again not as crazy as the others. It's again with the feel of the game, and I think it's also in this Thousand Needles, right? So it's actually Cairn.
God, I hated Cairn.
Really? That's crazy.
One of my least favorite.
I love.
Especially when I was doing the heroics, it was like one of my least favorite in the
I
world.
love it. I love it so much. I think that I like the fact that like all the lanes go to the left and then diagonally to the middle or to the enemy base. I don't know. I just feel like it feels like it's really immersive. Is I guess my feeling of this mission. With like the bridges and stuff, I really feel like I'm on a battlefield, which I think is really cool. And plus, I love just the aesthetic. It's just beautiful.
The level design is very cool on this level. I hate that you can't kill the dark spear trolls, so all of your flying minis are completely useless.
Yep.
And you basically are forced to have some kind of unbound tank because you can't actually get melee minis up to kill. You have two options. You perfectly time a pincer attack coming from the left and the right.
Yep.
Or you need an unbound mini, usually Earth Elemental, to sort of tank Cairn the other way whilst your minis actually deal damage to them.
Yeah, or you could pull the Cairn out of the Dark Spiritual range and actually fight it out of range, which is also very cool. I guess yeah.
You could do, but I feel like it's inconsistent. But I agree with you. I could do that, but I'm lazy. Anyway, I hated this level. It was a pain in the ass. I like flying minis. Can't use flying minis. Rend was my number one deck.
You should have a harpy. You should have a harpy cheese. That's why.
You know, when I was doing my free-to-play account and I only had Rend because Rend was the leader that I chose at the start, this was the hardest level to get past.
Really?
Because I only had flying minis that were any good. So I was basically using flaming living bomb talent on Rend over and over again to chip damage away with Rend because there was I had no other good minis in my deck that could do any damage.
Oh, well. All right. Well, quickly, your number 2.
My number 2 is Inquisitor Whitemane.
Yeah.
The double boss.
Yes.
Because
I'm gonna let you. Do you remember what where she is?
Yes, she is in the top left. She's in the Lorda run, and she's in the top left of the other one. So
oh yeah,
Inquisitor Whitemane, just a cool boss, and there is several reasons I like this boss. I've talked about it on the podcast before. It is very true to original Warcraft tactics in terms of how you do this in the Scarlet Monastery in World of Warcraft. You have to kill both of them at the same time in World of Warcraft. They've made it so you have to kill both of them at the same time in Warcraft Rumble. Love how they went down that avenue. And just in general, just a really, really cool boss with a cool mechanic. Like it forces you to play a certain way. You have to be particular about your timing. You know, there's lots of really cool stuff with this boss that I just think has a lot of, like I said, a lot of love towards original Warcraft fans, but also like just, again, a unique mechanic for the boss fight, which is really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And once again, I love the aesthetic of the map.
Yes.
It looks beautiful.
It's very Scarlet Monastery. If you've ever played Scarlet Monastery,
I haven't. But I mean,
very Scarlet Monastery.
I that's in World of Warcraft, right?
Yes.
Okay, because I am going to play World of Warcraft during the holiday break, but maybe I will. Is it far in the game or?
No, so you won't get to Scarlet Monastery until they've raised the level cap on Season of Discovery.
Well, I started retail.
Oh, you started retail?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you gave up on Season of Discovery.
Yeah.
You're like, nah, screw that.
Well, the thing is, like, I'm not playing to be a professional, right? I just want to like be immersed in the world and just have like an initial first experience that I never had. So, and
retail's got a lot of quality of life updates from Season of Discovery, which is quite nice. But once you're about level 40, I think it's about 40 to 45, that's when Scarlet Monastery can be done.
Okay. I'm not even sure I'll reach that point, but we'll see. My number one is the easiest one for me, and it's the last mission in the game right now. It's second to last if you count it, and it's General Drakisath. I love the burning tiles on the General Drakisath map. I think they should do more of that. I think they could even, like, if once they do get that PvP map pool that they announced at BlizzCon, I think they could do a map with tiles like that. Because if you have 5 maps and 4 of them are not crazy, or just like the maps that we're familiar with, and then you have a single map like this, I think that could be very cool. If one of the 5 maps could have those tiles. Obviously, I wouldn't make like a season with only this one because there's probably ways to abuse it. But if it's mapped with the other 4 maps, I think this could be very fun. So if you guys don't know the tiles, if you put a mini, your opponent or yourself plays a mini on the tile, it will start burning the other lane, dealing that burn damage to all minis there. So yeah, very, very unique map, and that one's by far my favorite. It's the last map in the game as well, or the last campaign in the game. But if you don't count on Nixia.
So my number one is also Drakisath.
Yes,
for exactly the same reasons. I love the environmental interaction with Drakisath and the outplay that you can have with the tiles.
That's perfectly said. Environmental interactions.
Yeah, it's and you covered most of the reasons, but yeah, it's just a great map for that. Even though you can cheese it with flying minis, like it's still a really, really well designed map and really cool. And yeah, I really love General Drakisath. I think it's probably one of the most fun levels. And you know, I am now in the process of challenging Onyxia, so I'm in the process of doing Onyxia right now. I've only got her to about 50%.
What level are your minis for Onyxia?
So I will be able to tell you. I'm under leveled for Onyxia. I can tell you that.
I have like level 24. I have like 2 or 3 that are level 26. Then I have like level 24s for my very good ones. And then like I have level 22, 23. I don't know. I don't think it's enough. That's the issue.
So most of my Rend deck, except for Meat Wagon, is 26. So like I've got Rend, Whelpegs, Drake, Quillbore, Harpies at 26. The big problem I've got is that you really need Meat Wagon at 26. Otherwise, you probably just won't have the damage. I've been trying to do it with Chimera because I thought Chimera was something that was probably quite well suited for Onyxia. The problem with Chimera is that she doesn't outrange, the Chimera doesn't outrange Onyxia, so Onyxia just chomps and Chimera dies. So that's one of the main problems with the Chimera edition in that deck. So I really don't know if I'm going to be able to do it until I'm able to get my Meat Wagon to level 26. Because Meat Wagon's currently stuck at level 22.
I actually been upgrading my Meat Wagon for no reason. No reason. You told me Meat Wagon was really good for Onyxia. So then I just like started upgrading my Meat Wagon. I never play Meat Wagon, but like I'm actually, I think I got her or him or it at 23, 24, almost.
What's my Meat Wagon at the moment?
Including everything, obviously, like the slots and the level.
Yeah, mine's level 23.
Oh, that's pretty good.
I'd need to get it to level 21 and then get an epic upgrade on it. But I'm so far away from the epic upgrade, I need another 20 stars on my Meat Wagon for the epic upgrade, which is really annoying. And I also don't have enough Arclight energy anymore because I'm absolutely gated by Arclight energy. So there you go.
You're going to be forced to buy some, right?
Yep, but we'll talk about that in the next bit.
Okay. Well, guys, I think we are going to wrap it up here. Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays. I think that's the thing you're supposed to say now to everyone. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Go watch the second half on Excoundrel's channel, as always. And thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys there in just a minute. Take care and bye, guys.